say the world is unreal. Then is the world partly real and partly unreal? They say no, 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 no. Reality and unreality cannot coexist, man. Now what is the world? It's neither real, nor unreal, nor partly real, nor partly unreal. Then what is the world? Then they come up with this word called Maya. Maya or Mithya. Mithya. Another word for Maya is Mithya. So what does Maya mean? Enamma? Maya means illusion. Illusion. What does illusion mean? That which, an illusion is that which appears to exist but it is not existing. Like when you see a desert on a hot day, you see a mirage. Mirage is a Brahma, is your illusion, your imagination. What they are saying is, this world is a figment of your imagination. And a man who has that wisdom, a person who has that drishti, that perception, they know the reality between the truth, the essence of what is real, what is unreal. Not us. We do not know. We are still trying to understand what they are saying. It has got a relative reality, because it is very much real. You're experiencing, your senses are participating, there is a perception, there's a cognition of the experience. But is this absolutely real? Like no, when you go to tonight to sleep, it doesn't exist anymore. An hour later, there is no more of this world for you. It's gone. All the knowledge that you have received, you can recall certain aspects of it, certain part of it it's gone, isn't it? Reality is that which never ceases to be. What is it that never dies? What is it that never ceases to be? Since they are mentioning, it's worth examining. Imagination. What is it that never ceases to be? It never dies. Sorry? What is that real? Which never dies, but what is that? You can give it a word called Atman, Atma. You can call it the Brahman, you can call it the consciousness, you can call it the reality, you can call it the truth, call it the self. That never dies. That's what they say. You know, how is that reality following you all your life? All your life the reality is following you, and you are mentioning it and not experiencing it. All your life that reality is there with you. How is that? How is it? No, it's an intellectual way of observing it. When you are a boy, I ask you, who are you? What would you say? I am a boy. When you are a youth, I come and ask you, who are you? What would you say? I'm a youth. When you grow up to be a young man and I ask you, who are you? You say, I'm a man. Much later, I came and asked you, what would you say? I'm an old man. Now I ask you, who are you? You say, I'm a waker. In the sleep, I come and ask you, who are you? You say, I'm a dreamer. What nationality are you? You say, I'm an Indian. You say, I'm a female. You say, I'm a manager. You say, I'm a father. I'm a neighbor. I'm a student. I'm a teacher. Now, what is that which never dies throughout your life? The I never left you, isn't it? Did the I leave you? The identity of yours gone, but the I is your true identity. That has never left. That never dies. So what died? The boyhood died, the youth died, the manhood died, the old age died, the waker died, the dreamer died, the Indian died. You may again call it a soul, but it is that which never dies. It's the I, it is the soul, it is the Atman or the consciousness of Brahman. So they say that thou art. You are that consciousness. You are not what you think yourself to be, you are that reality. So since you believe yourself to be something which you are not, that is called Maya. You're believing yourself to be something which you are not. It's like you see something which is not there. Exactly the same way. No, we are talking about the belief what these masters are saying. Do you believe these masters? You are saying of a belief of your parentage or your upbringing, but we got to one in 100,000 will actually examine this statement. Majority of them, what are you joking with? There's a big joke going on. What are you talking about? They don't have time for all this. Nobody is interested in this. So the world has a relative reality, my dear. It does not have an absolute reality. So if you ask me, is the world real? Only relatively. But it is, you can't give it an absolute status. So everything in life, is it relative or absolute for you? Anything and you mention in your life, sir. Anything. Anything you mention, it doesn't have an absolute existence in your life. You told about that Karodpati. Is that absolute existence in your life or relative? Would you cease without being a Karodpati? Would you cease to be without being a Karodpati? Or would you exist? You are existing still, because you are Karodpati only in the dream. We truly wish you become in the waking state also. Your life doesn't cease to be without being a Karodpati. Would your life cease to be without your name and fame? Would you cease to be without the name and fame you have acquired? You will continue. You did great work when you were in service. Now you are retired, happily living a retired life, being of some service to whoever you can. All that name and glory and reputation you had created, what about that? A decade over. When you perhaps go to the bank, a few might recognize you, oh, you are an ex-manager of this bank. Otherwise, mostly everybody will say you are A customer. A pensioner, a customer, I suppose. So the name you are creating, the fame you have created is not absolute. The family you are so much gloating about, is it absolute? I am only examining the relative. The family you are holding on to, is it absolute? What is it that is only absolute to yourself? What is it? All the money, all the name, fame, following, family, reputation, everything has a relative reality. What is that only thing that has an absolute reality? Not the ego I. I myself. Yeah, but it is not that ego as she clarified. The I, in the context we use that which never dies. It is that even your phone you should cease to be. Switch it off, sir. Otherwise your phone will cease to be. What is that? Right. So tomorrow you evolve. I'm not saying you're not now, but tomorrow you evolve, you understand you're nothing in this cosmos. You're nothing in this totality. You become very humble. That ego, I and my is gone. Would you not cease to exist without that ego and the I and my and the glory and that assertiveness of yourself? Would you not cease to exist without that ego? Then it's the same. If you're referring to the ego, that also has to go. But that which is absolute real is your own consciousness, that I. Everything else has a relative reality, my dear. So if you rise above that relative reality, you are able to attune to that, the true, real. But still play by the rules of the relative world. If a mad dog chases you, please run from it. Don't say it is relative reality. That is absolute reality for you. You have to run for your life. Play by the rule. Understand it's a passing phenomenon. Okay? They give examples. The waves in the ocean, the waves are born, the waves exist, the waves die. There's a birth and death of the waves, but the ocean remains. The ocean is the permanent. The ornaments are born, the ornaments die, but what is permanent? The gold is permanent, the ornament, the nama, rupa, the names and forms die. A potter creates various forms of pottery, but what is it that never dies? Clay has no birth and death. It is the pot, the nama, rupa that is born. So the Atman in you never dies. You may cease to be, Atman never dies. So they're talking in a certain frequency. It takes a lot for us to attune to that frequency. My attempt is only to get it to your information. How much can you rise to that is your capacity. How much can you hold on to that frequency is your capacity. Okay. Let's chant 22nd verse. The next verse as in your order. Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani ghrannati naroparani tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi. Once more. Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani ghrannati naroparani tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi. Very famous, oft quoted verse. Vaishnavi, can you arrange for the 2 sheets for them, please, here in the front? Now you see, she'll come and give me. Just as a man casts off worn out garments and puts on new ones, so also the embodied casts off its worn out bodies and enters new ones. Now there was a mention of this concept in the 13th verse. I said I'll explain in detail when we come to the 22nd verse. Here it is. Just like a man casts off the worn out garments, like after a talk I go back home, I remove my kurta and the veshti, casts off the worn out garments and puts on new ones. So the embodied casting off worn out bodies enters new ones. What is he talking about? Any idea, sir? What is he talking about? Talking about death and birth. A new form, a new body. And he is drawing an analogy of just changing garments. He makes it as innocuous, as simple, as frivolous as you change garments. He says the embodied picks up new bodies. Why so much fuss? So much fuss for no reason. Vyamoha, attachment. Now let me analyze it. Very interesting when you analyze it. Now, you got to understand the definition of death and birth. What happens at death, what happens at birth is, I've already told you all, but I will give you the definition. The definition is the transference of your subtle and causal. Now you may not understand all the terms, being here for the first time. The transference of the subtle and causal from one gross body to another is the death of the first and the birth of the later. So when a person dies, what I'm saying is the inner personality, what dies is the physical body. The physical body dies, but what is contained within the body is the manas, which is the mind, the buddhi, which is the intellect. These together, these two are known as subtle body, okay? And then the vasanas known as the causal body. So the subtle and the causal body together leave the gross body and enter a new one. So it is the death of the first and the birth of the second. And now I'll give an analogy comparing why he compares it, or what is analogy to No, maybe it's an urgent call. If you have switched off your phone, if your wife's phone is ringing. ఇవాళ రాత్రి చూస్తాను సార్. చూడలేదు. No, నేను చూడలేదు, రాత్రి చూడాలి. Okay, I have not seen. Even if I have seen, I have forgotten. అవునా, చూస్తాను. I'll see. So, point 1, sir. The clothes get the vitality because of the wearer. Because I am wearing, the kurta has got a shape and a form. The kurta is compared to, the garment is compared to the gross body. So the gross body gets vitality because of, sir, the trouser garment gets vitality because of the wearer. I wear it, it gets vitality. Otherwise, this is a dead piece of fabric. Similarly, the physical body gets the vitality because of, when a person dies, why is there no vitality? So why did a body die? Are you lost? The vasana has left, correct. So what is it that gives the vitality to the body? Vasanas. So just like the physical body is using these trousers or garments, the subtle and the causal body is actually using the physical body. That's the parallel, that's akin, isn't it? Just like the physical body gives vitality to the garment, the subtle and causal body gives the vitality to the physical body. Now, who decides to change the garments? Who decides to change the garments or the wearer? Similarly, who decides to change this physical body? Who decides to die? What causes death? It seems stupid when I ask who decides to change the garment, but when I put it to parallel, what determines death? Because death is changing garment. Sorry, sir. Please spare a thought for doctors. Thank God, any doctor today here in the class? Sorry? He's just declaring, but he is not responsible. But our friend is saying responsible for that. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes some doctors save the disease and kill the patient. That's what he's saying. Most doctors must kill the disease and save the patient, but they save the disease and kill the patient. So we do find such scholarly people as well. So who determines death? What determines death? Chapandi. Yes. Right. Why? What determines death? Who decides to change this physical body? Now, why did Almighty come into the equation, sir? Why did you bring him to the equation? Who decides to change this young blood color you're wearing? Nobody wants to die. But yet when the death happens, who determines the change? God? The vasanas. It is the subtle body and the causal body determines to change the body. You will understand when I explain further. Rajagopal sir, it is your subtle and causal body that determines change, not the accident. A person doesn't die because of an accident. A person does not die because of a disease. A person does not die because of age. A person doesn't die because of a calamity. A person dies only when his vasanas have decided to change, he dies. Did you see the last 2 days back video we sent? Is there luck or fate? We sent, isn't it, sir? There is nothing called as luck or fate. See, when you say fate or destiny, you are suggesting that something is determined or predetermined. As you say, tadarata hai, oh, I have no choice but to go through it. When somebody says that you are destined to go through that, you mean to say there is something else that is determining or defining my being? Or you're destined to suffer? Who determines that? My own actions determine, isn't it? My own actions, my own karmas determine if I have to suffer. I am the architect, correct? As you rightly said, you are the architect of your destiny. Let's not. We're not telling what is important. No, it's not in the context. I'm just answering her question when she's saying what is fate. I'm only explaining fate as nothing but defined and determined by your own actions. Whether karma yoga is important or bhakti yoga is important is not the context of the study now. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but for all practical reasons, nothing is right or wrong. Everything is equally important. Since you made a statement, I'm clarifying it, but I'll not get into it because it's not the subject discussion now. So, who decides to change? It is not the environment. It is your own vasanas that determine the change or choosing another body. Now let's analyze further. I'll explain further. Then if you have any clarifications, I'll take. Okay. The third point, maybe absurd question. Why do you need clothes? Why do we need to wear clothes? Need to wear clothes. Sorry? Why do you need to wear clothes? It's a circling, eh? It's not a joke, it's a serious question I'm asking. Why different audience will say something else, sir? You need to wear clothes because you need to contact the world. You need to contact the world. You wear the garments to go and contact the world outside, to eke out the various experiences. Like when you are with yourself in the shower, you don't need to wear clothes. Don't tell me you wear a three-piece suit and go for a bath in the bathtub. No. You're not doing that. But you need to wear clothes to contact the world, to eke out the experiences. Similarly, you need the gross body, the subtle body needs the gross body to contact the world. subtle body needs the gross body only to contact the world. Third point. When do you change your garments? It becomes dirty, it's of no more use to you. It doesn't serve you anymore, correct? Like I can't go for a jog tomorrow morning in my veshti, isn't it? For practical purposes, I can't do so. So when it's of no more use to me, I change. Similarly, when will the gross body, when will the subtle body decide to give up the gross body? When it is of no more use to the vasanas. Vasanas is said to be the root of the desire. Okay, you understand what's a desire? And the sankalpa theriyum thane? Sankalpa becomes a desire. Where does the desire come from? And manasula desire irukungla, thoughts, various desires. Where does this thoughts and desire come from? Okay, do you have thoughts for rock music? Do you have thoughts of rock climbing? Do you have thoughts of Carnatic music? Why? Why is it you don't have thoughts of rock climbing? You answered yourself. My job in this classroom is to facilitate you to think. That's all I've done. And by questioning you, you've answered yourself. So you have a thought and a desire for Carnatic music because you have a passion for it. What is that passion? That passion is that innate interest. You have an aptitude, you have an urge, you have a liking, you have an inclination, you have a certain wanting for it. That is a vasana. So without a vasana, there cannot be a thought. Even if I were to try to plant a thought of rock climbing in you, there is a rock climbing competition going on. Come, let's go and watch. Thank you, sir. Interest in rock climbing and what am I going to do with rock climbing? Thank you for the invite. See, even if I were to plant the thought in you, there is no interest. The innate, instinctive urge you are born with. So what's happening is, you are born with a certain vasanas. All of us are born with certain vasanas. And those vasanas are known as prarabdha vasanas. These are the vasanas when you are born with. Prarabdha vasanas. Now, these vasanas, when they are exhausted, your body will be of no more use to you. It could be in the womb, it could be at the ripe age of 95. Nobody can determine it. You can't ask me, sir, how long is my prarabdha vasana going to last? Which will determine how long I am going to live? Nobody will know. As long as they are, as long as there is fuel in your vehicle will propel further. The moment there is no more fuel, what happens? It will come to a halt very soon. So, when do you change? When your vasanas find this body of no more use to, you will decide to change. Not because of age, not because of accident, not because of death, not because of external factors. Only because of your own indweller. The indweller determines when to change the body. Rather difficult. Very difficult to say. Right? lastly, you go into a shop. Okay, let's say you go into a mall. Where would you go into the mall? When you go into the mall, you walk into a mall, sir. A mall. Where would you go? The shop which interests you, isn't it? You will only go which interests you, because it has everything there, right from a playground to maybe a theme park or amusement park. It has got a cinema, it has got various food restaurants, it has got shops, it's got clothing, it's got everything. You would only go where your desire takes you. Now, when would you leave that shop or store? When the desire gets satiated. Very good, ma. When the desire gets satiated, you leave the store, or you don't find what you went for, your desire has changed. You went with that specific desire, but having gone there, your desire has changed. You're no more there. So you go with a desire. When it's fulfilled, you leave. You don't like, also you leave. So you are born into this world with a certain bundle of desires. So you will die when those desires are ceased or exhausted or fulfilled, or you are entertaining new desires which cannot be satisfied through this body, through this embodiment. So the body picks up, so the subtle body picks up another body. For what purpose? To fulfill its own desires. Is there any clarity in this? Your subtle body is only picking up a gross body for its own satisfaction, for its own expression. So when this body is not serving you, what purpose does it serve? No purpose. So you die. Where do you go? Your next bundle of desires, choose to go, you go there. For what purpose? For exhaustion of those vasanas. But during the course of your life, you have changed your vasanas. Die. And this cycle goes on again and again, again and again, never ending, until you have completely exhausted all your vasanas. That's the path. Renunciation is the path to transcend the vasanas. But as long as you have them, you will be subjected to the cycle of punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. So this goes on. All clear, sir? All okay? That's all he's saying. So just as a man casts off worn out garments and puts on new ones, so also the embodied casts off worn out bodies and enters new ones. That's all. So it's just, no, for them it's so simple. Why are you getting caught up? They make it very simple, but as long as you understand this, you have no problem. Otherwise, it's not easy to handle that loss. So if you are wise, you really understand death in fact is growth. Growth. Death, philosophically, death is evolution. Birth is devolution. Because you're already exhausted, no? If your goal is to reach zero, is minus 200 closer or minus 70 closer? A banker will never go wrong there. So, when you die, what is ascertained? That you have exhausted the desires, isn't it? So certainty is that you are with a little lesser bundle. Hopefully so. Not disregarding what you have created further, but at least what you are born with, you have exhausted. So death is actually evolution. So philosophers actually celebrate death and they mourn birth. Birth is you have brought a backlog of vasanas to fulfill. Don't know what's going to happen with it. It's strange, but we do everything ulta to what it ought to be done. Yes, sir. One last question. Okay. Human years? 120 human years or 120 lifespans? What do you mean 120 years? I truly pray for that. If that is what is the truth, and if there is greater reality to it, all of us will attain moksha very soon. Reality is perhaps far different to that. So, what is the reason why human population is increasing? Where are they coming from? Food for dreams, sir. You come back. Thank you.